You're watching the number one podcast in the whole entire wrestling community, and I'm one of your hosts, Juanzo.
And I'm your other host, John Paul Leek.
Together we are Raw Break. And family, how's every single one of you? Welcome to the last show of AEW Dynamite. Last show of the year. Last show also on TNT. They're going to switch channels. The next time we're going to see on TBS. So, Paul, we thought it was going to be a great show. It's like New Year's Mash. But we actually got our head smashed because of how bad the show was. Because a lot of things that way too many multi-man tag matches. That is not interesting. Probably the women's match was probably the best thing, the debut. And then the main event, kind of just because we wanted to see what's going to happen with the Undisputed Era or the new form of Undisputed Era. But aside of that, Paul, I'm pretty lackluster AEW Dynamite.
Yeah, I mean, you could say the last maybe 40 minutes of the show were at least decent. This felt like a 2-hour Rampage. Rampage usually gives you one good segment, per hour of that show. And this had 2 good segments, per 2 hours of this show. I mean, the first at least hour of it was abysmal. It was awful. And it sucks because I was looking forward to this. Okay, they had the momentum. Okay, the move to TBS, the rematch, Danielson and Page, everything, Punk, MJF, while we might not have liked the winners of, a pretty fun and great tag match last week, main event. And they had a decent amount of momentum, even though they were giving us some stinkers here and there, a lot of home run shows. They had the momentum. And tonight, I thought for the swan song of TNT, not a very good episode.
Not a very good Dynamite, but thank you so very much for being with us. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and also share this to more people exposed to the original rubric. And Paul, like you said, always, there you go. So also help us out, with the, just checking the video out for NXT of 2.0, a show that is also us.
Please watch the video, subscribe, so we can get some money, so Raquel can buy some wrestling gear, so she doesn't have to wrestle in jeans anymore.
Exactly, the show needs to get better because it's actually the go-home show for what is going to be New Year's Evil. So a lot of new matches added. Maybe Matt Riddle, Walter added to this show. It will make him look a little better. AJ Styles confronting Grayson Waller is going to be better. And this, is going to be a triple threat match for the NXT Women's Championship. So watch the show. Don't forget to also, like I said, give the videos the like and subscribe, family. And, we got to congratulate Jim Ross because JR is actually cancer-free. So exactly, he's back, and cancer-free. We're really happy for him. One of the greatest, if not the greatest, voice in professional wrestling. So we're all excited about it. He came back to the booth, and he got he was excited. He got the energy. He was really hyped. So that was good. And now Paul, let's talk about the first match that we saw, and that was, like you said, multi-man tag matches. They're not as exciting, and they just put a lot of people just because they need to be featured on the show. We can see FTR, Matt Hardy's Chris Entourage, the group, and then we got to see also Christian, Jurassic Express, and the tag team champions the Lucha Brothers. So what did you think about the match? For the winners, I think that decent, just because FTR, they're actually the best tag team out of right now. They're the hottest tag team in AEW. So for me, that was okay. But they're winning. It doesn't really mean anything for what's going to happen with the tag title.
No, and that's something we found out in a little bit. But Jungle Boy's good. I think if he is working with guys like FTR, he's working with guys like Christian, either directly with him or against him. I think Jungle Boy is good. But these multi-man matches are such a clusterfuck. The referee, they can only do so much when the referees are good. Yet, let alone the referees in AEW, which are all over the place. No, like I said, besides those guys I mentioned, Christian, Jungle Boy, FTR, the rest of the people, I really don't care about. There was a point in the match, here in this picture where Christian had all this momentum, Penta tagged himself in and immediately destroys all the momentum to do his Miedo, hand thing. And it's if that was in a real fight, you would get, killed, or you get shot, or, you'd be done. No, you don't just completely stop the whole momentum of the match. It kills it. It was maybe cool the first time we saw it. It's like Orange Cassidy putting his hands in his pockets. But don't
Shouted machine, Paul, and then 1, 2, 3, and FTR gets the win. The theme song is cool. Like I said, the right winners, because here they're the hottest tag team, but they don't have any implications or anything when it comes to the AEW tag team championship. So they win, but whatever, nobody cares. So I don't know how you feel, but they're gonna actually start a different feud. And we
Yeah,
can talk
and
about it. Right here. There you go.
I was just gonna say, they need to win on FTR needs to win matches, just single tag team matches, not multi-man, not 10-man, not 8-man, not whatever 6-man. No, just 2 versus 2. But no. Then we saw this, and Christian was pissed. They again a promo getting interrupted. Lucha Bros were about to cut a promo. Christian gets pissed. He said it's all your fault. You're bullshit. You're the reason why we lost, and why because Christian was the one who ate the big rig or shatter machine, and he was the one who got pinned. So, Alex, does the whole Penta says thing. They go back and forth. Eventually, it's a match. It's a match between the Jurassic Express and the Lucha Bros for the tag titles. And honestly, if you weren't going to do the Lucha Bros versus FTR, you didn't want to do the match for them to drop the belts to get them over, or to put them over, then put it on these guys and then FTR beats them. I don't know, but the belts need to go to FTR.
Oh yeah, no, and like you said, I feel that they're going to
do the switch, but I think it's. To me that they're another failed experiment. The Lucha Bros. I'm sour on them right now. I liked them in the beginning. I don't want to say I hate them and I'm completely done with them, but right now they're not doing anything as tag champs. Give it to these guys.
They don't feel special. That's the problem. Whatever they're trying to do is not sinking in. Like the fans are not in love of this, and they don't feel champions. Like they don't feel like the main tag team. They don't feel like a big deal. FTR without the championship feels even brighter, better and more exciting than anything else. They have new theme songs. They're trying to emulate like old tag teams. So that's what we're going to see.
And they have they have AAA tag titles, and nobody even cares about them. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Like that's the thing is I don't know. Like they never were able to like make like the Lucha Bros look special.
No.
Maybe it's because the language barrier. I don't know what it is. It's just like maybe like Phoenix, they are injury prone, but they never had the level. Even like the Young Bucks, when the Young Bucks they were annoying and everything, but at least the titles fell. Okay, they're in a tag team that is actually credible. So we'll see what happens on that. After that, see, like you said, it starts with a tag team match and it follows with a tag team match. That was not good because I feel that like. They need to like promote also singles matches, and I mean tag matches are okay, but not when they're overly done. And this was like another trios match, and we get to see Eddie Kingston and the guy in Santana and Ortiz against like 2.0 and also Garcia. This was not interesting for me at all. All of these guys, aside of like Santana and Ortiz and Eddie Kingston, like they don't use them properly. That's the main problem. They're not being used properly. They've been put in this type of like programs that nobody really cares, and especially when like. Santana and Ortiz are like way ahead or like way above these other teams, and Eddie Kingston, like what he does in the promo work is better. But in the end, the 2.0 and Garcia get the win. So for me, I don't care for this. This is just terrible, and it just makes me want to change the channel. I will say that to you, Paul, and I know that like you hated this even more. Because Le Champion is back. And who cares about Le Champion at this point, Paul? Because he needs to be away. I said he needs to be away from like a long time for me to actually reignite my passion for Le Champion. And we get to see tensions at the end with Eddie Kingston. So it seems that they're going to have a match. Do I care about this? No, not at all.
Yeah, and I mean, to comment on this whole thing, after what we've seen in the first, half hour of the show, because that opening match went on absolutely forever. And, now we're here at this point in this match. I completely zoned out. I was doing other stuff. I was, opening and rearranging my toys. Follow the Instagram, JP_.
That's right.
Chess, follow me there. And, how can you get into this? Because you think, okay, Kingston and Santana and Ortiz, they're legit, they're badass, they're going to wipe the floor with these guys. Garcia's a pretty good wrestler, and 2.0 is not awful, but nobody's into this. And then the heels, they win. So you're thinking, oh my God, there's going to be some kind of angle with this. Why would the heels have won? And then Jericho comes out, and I mean, I didn't want to see this when Jericho was going to be his friend. I maybe want to see it a little bit more if they're going to feud, but Jericho is, unless he went away and lost 20 pounds and got in shape, him and Eddie Kingston aren't going to have that good of a match unless they're going to be a brawling style, but I don't know. Jericho's going to, I don't know. I don't like this. Like you said, I'm not a big fan of Jericho right now either, but I'd rather have them feud than be friends. So I guess we got.
Yeah, no, like we'll see. But again, I'm not. Again, like what does Eddie Kingston do with beating Jericho, or what does Jericho get out of beating Eddie Kingston? Nothing. These two
I
need
mean,
to have
if you
like.
want to do something, you should have Cody Rhodes should be a heel, which we'll talk about Cody, I guess, in a little bit. But he should be, now that he's the TNT champion, he should be a heel. That now he should be coming out dressed like a king. He should be like, I'm royalty. Eddie Kingston, he's from the slums. He's dirt poor. You have, the rags beating the riches, and he should be the one to beat Cody. They should be building him up for the TNT championship.
Yes, it will be cool because it will be a good, idea. It will be fresh. It will be something that like Eddie Kingston deserves gold just because of the promo work that he's done. Not only with John Moxley, but CM Punk, all of that. Nothing has ever like translated into any of that. So why can't he? So that was something that we will appreciate. MJF, like you said, he seems like he's done for now with CM Punk. Got a good promo. MJF is really good, but like if we don't see anything else. We need that extra, right? Because we know that the good promo is going to be there. So yeah, I'm done with you, CM Punk. Yeah, I lost the match, but who cares? Like, we're all focusing on the titles. That's the one thing, and then we get to see more interactions with Wardlow. So at some point next year, he's going to split up from like MJF. Probably they will have a feud, and then Wardlow will start like a run as baby face.
I was just gonna say, what MJF pretty much said. Yeah, I'm gonna go after the title, and he's like, Wardlow, you're going after the TNT title, right? That's your plan. And he's like, yeah, well, when you win that, you're going to relinquish it to me. And he's like, the look on Wardlow's face was like, are you fucking bullshit? Like, what are you talking about? And he's like, no. And then he's like, Smart Mark Sterling came in. Then he read the contract and was pretty much like, yeah, it says right here, any title you win gets, forfeited to MJF, while you're under his employment and everything. So, what is that telling you? While I'm under your employment, maybe they're building Wardlow up. He's going to be champ. Cody's going to put him over because Cody beat him in his first match. Now it's time to do the job again, Triple H. You got to put the guy over now, But maybe we're going to see that. I don't know. And then he says, screw you, MJF. But I mean, I don't know. It's Wardlow. They're building up for this. We see another match here. Same gimmick, same bullshit again with Shawn Spears, all this stuff. Wardlow I like, and he's over. I mean, I think he's over that they like him. So turn him babyface and push him. Because you know what? Then if Bryan Danielson becomes your champion, Bryan Danielson could have a match with him at some point, and he could lead this guy to a good match, really get Wardlow over even more. And, Powerhouse Hobbs he's kind of the same kind of thing, but he's a heel. So you have one as a heel, one as a babyface. It works out because, Lance Archer done with the neck. He's probably out for a while. And Brian Cage, nobody cares about him.
He's going to go to WWE. Yeah, that's what they say like that. He actually in talks with WWE. So he could be the first one to do the opposite effect. We'll see about that. But like you said, I like that. Wardlow is probably going to be the breakthrough start, for 2022 if they do it right. Right now it's working because everybody wants him to be babyface. So we'll see what happens. And, we got to see the Young Bucks and Adam Cole and the newly fresh Red Dragon on the Undisputed Era. And we got to see, it's like, hey, what's going on here? Like, Kyle doesn't even say hi to us. What's going on? We want to know, like, are you guys in? And, like, what's really happening here? And Adam Cole is like, I got it. Don't be bullshit. I got this. So he has a conversation with O'Reilly. And I like this poll just because it said, hey, at least they acknowledge the past. It's like, we had heat before. So right now I want to know you have my back in their match that they're going to have against the Best Friends. So you see like a little bit of tension, but at the same time it's like, can we be in the same page just for this match? So I like where this is going. It's like, hey, we had heat, but now it's AEW, it's a different company. Let's go back to being legit.
Yeah, I mean, this was one of the things you were intrigued for, and I just wish they were having a match against, I don't know, any other group that actually had any type of legitimacy. I'm not saying they should have came in and had a match against MJF and FTR, because that wouldn't have been, good for business or made any sense, but, really against Chuck Taylor and Trent and Orange Cassidy. I mean, Trent's legit, but I'm sorry, the other two are a joke. And the whole hugging and the best friends thing, when you started and you felt like an indie show on TV, that was one thing. But now you have all these legit stars and legit wrestlers. You got to present the show legit. So, no, I mean, this felt good, this promo, at least the end here with these two guys. But, I knew it was leading to bullshit, unfortunately.
Yes. Yeah, like you said, we'll see where really this is going, but at least, like you said, the word key right here is intriguing. So that's the word important. This is what, it's not just us. This is not just us, but, even when they do the demographics and they track the whole ratings of the show and everything, this is, the segments that, people just turn away. Like they changed the channel because
This was, remember when I told you about Monday Night Raw, when as soon as
yes,
Eric Bischoff came on,
yes.
I turned off the screen. I mean, I closed, I was done watching. That this is exactly, if we weren't reviewing this show right here for the family, so you're welcome. If we weren't doing this right here, this is the exact segment, and you'll know when. It wasn't when Dan Lambert was talking. You'll know when.
Oh yeah, right here. I mean, he was talking because why? He wants a match. He wants Ethan Page to have a match with Cody Rhodes for the TNT Championship. But like this made it even worse. Like you said, Brandy comes out, and she's just as annoying. Nobody really likes her. I mean, Brandy. I don't know. Maybe it's the cockiness. I don't know what really is like the.
Yeah, he was making fun of her too. He's just like, oh, any woman named Brandy is a stripper. Oh, she's bullshit. So they were making fun of her too. She comes out with her ghetto attitude, like she did when she cut that promo against Jade a couple months ago and everything. And no, she pretty much the closing line was like, oh, you're a black belt, or you have a black belt in karate, but I'm a black bitch. And I mean, the crowd really wasn't behind her either. The only thing that I latched onto, and it was funny because she's like, oh, you're just a knockoff wannabe Paul Heyman, and the crowd kind of
he goes, I'd rather be Jim Cornette,
and he's like, I'd rather be Jim Cornette, and the crowd, they didn't say anything because I think some of them wanted to cheer, and then they're like, should we cheer? But I don't want to cheer and then get booed by the fan. I think people were like, this was complete. No, this was shit. Overall, this was garbage.
No, I mean that comment was, that
didn't save it. I mean, this was bad, and we're gonna see this match, and I mean, you see Cody how he is there. Like I said, present him like this, but he needs to be heel. He needs to be a dick. He needs to be an asshole. And you need to build somebody like Eddie Kingston or even Miro again, because Miro was so over. Somebody who's actually over. Give him the TNT title. And, I mean, not to go too off topic, but not off topic, but, change the subject, is what do you think they took the title off Sammy because, all the, backstage allegations with the breakup and Ty Conti? And
I feel maybe it has something a little bit to do with it, but not much, because not really is nothing that they have done wrong.
But do you really think they built up Cody and then it was like TNT Championship time? Like, really? Do you think, I mean, to me, I don't know.
I mean, to me, it's like to just really do the full-fledged, like heel turn and do something like a completely switch up, like the storyline, and based on the title. I think that's what they're going to do. Sammy had a picture right here, like he wants to be the champion one more time. Sammy's already dealing, with a lot of cake. So, like, he's good. He has a lot of championship gold right already. So, like, he's fine. But, like you said, I feel Cody, the title is going to mean something. It's going to be the focal point of, like, where really is going to be Cody. Because Cody likes to, like, really say, oh, I'm not heel, I'm not heel. Yes, he's going to be. So, I think that's going to be the main star of something, like, for him important. Because, he doesn't need it, like you said. He doesn't need it. But I think they're going to use it to get him to the next level where Cody needs to be. Do I think that, like, Sammy was doing a great job? No. Like, it should have never been taken away from Miro. Should have never been in it. Miro was using it to give them relevance, to make that. Miro made that title important. Cody doesn't make that. Cody makes that title boring, at least what I can tell you. So we'll see what happens on that. So now let's move on, Paul, to like the semifinals of the TBS Championship. Thunder Rosa or Wolverine against Jade Cargill. This was like probably the best segment of the show, or like what I enjoyed the most. Not too much of the wrestling quality, but at least there's a good rivalry. It's believable, good babyface in Thunder Rosa. Jade Cargill is alright. So we get to see a pretty decent match. There was a few sloppy spots. Yeah, there was. I think Jade Cargill got injured for real, in one of her legs. Thunder, like, of course, she's a great wrestler, so she helped to carry it around this match. I like that. But we get a mystery woman attacking Thunder Rosa, and that allow Jade to get like the glam slam. And 1, 2, 3, she advances. She's going to be in the finals with Ruby Soho. Something that Paul predicted from the beginning of the tournament. So good job on Paul. And Mystery Woman turns out to be Mercedes Martinez. So what do you think? I mean, the girl, imagine Paul, in this whole year, she's been in 3 different companies. She's been on Impact, she's been on NXT, WWE, and now she's been on AEW. She's like now signed for them by them.
Yeah, and if you want to be, extra, super official, she was on also what, Raw or SmackDown? Wasn't she drafted to?
Yeah, she was a member of like Mustafa Ali and Retribution.
Yeah, I mean, no, the match itself. I mean, if you look at it, You see the big, strong, powerful heel, the underdog, baby face, but, the hell of a worker, hell of a wrestler, fighter. I mean, this was literally Wolverine, the short, strong, tough guy. I mean, no, this match, just looking at it would have been great, but unfortunately Jade is super green. So the match kind of struggled there. And like you say, was the leg, was it a work? Was it a real injury? They played into it, but then Jade kipped up at the end. I mean, she sold it, but she kipped up. Would you kip up if it was a legit injury, or do you do that and then just sell it after you do it to try to look badass? So I don't know, but like you said, the knockout, Mercedes Martinez, that's probably going to be the feud, to get until we get to maybe Thunder Rosa versus Britt Baker, if that is their plan. But does that mean you have Mercedes Martinez come in and lose her first feud? Because to me, that's not very good. But I mean, I don't know. I guess we got to wait and see what they do. But it sets up Jade, versus Ruby Soho, which I think is the right, result. I hope they put on Ruby. I'm not saying that Ruby is, a great wrestler or anything, but she's better. And, than Jade, at least to carry it right now. And also, then you wouldn't have two heel champions, but I guess
that's the main point for me. That's the difference maker right there for me. It's like they need a baby face to be in Ruby, so that they're gonna do it on her, and maybe like the first rivalry is gonna be Jade again asking for like a rematch, something like that, and then she has Mercedes as the muscle, something like I think like that. For now, or easily they could do also like a tag match because Ruby came out to save the day. She came out with like a bat because they grabbed it from Sting, all of that stuff. So like, I mean, good match because at least you get to something different. At least debut like better than what we saw up to like right there, like you said, like an hour and 20 minutes of just like trash. This was a little better. Let's talk about Phil Brooks because he got a promo on MJF. Same thing that you mentioned, Paul. Oh, my eyes are on the title right now. MJF and me, our feud is gonna be put on hold. Just because I guess like we need to stretch it out all the way to Revolution. So we don't know what we're gonna do. So Paul was like the first time at the Darius place and under his palace or place, and he also mentions talk about Brody Lee that when he saw the tribute that they did on him after his passing, because a few days ago it was like the first year anniversary, he said that made him want to join AEW. So he was just cutting a promo on that. He talked about Jim Ross. They just bring CM Punk just because it's the name of CM Punk. I don't like that because I mean you're just using the guy.
This is the second time they're using him as like a PR guy.
Yeah.
As like, because they even said when his music hits, there's nobody hotter, nobody gets a bigger crowd reaction. I mean, eventually he does get to the point of the matter, which was saying, why do we all come here? Why do we all wrestle? It's to be the champion. I would be lying if I said I wouldn't want to, I didn't want to be the champion. So yeah, I want to go after this guys, whether it's Hangman Adam Page or Bryan Danielson, whoever. So, again, he's throwing his hat into the ring. He's saying, I want to be champion. So that's what we want to hear. But of course, he has to come out and say the things about Jim Ross and say the things about Brody Lee because he's the most over guy. You know what I mean? If this was during the pandemic and this was WWE, they would have had Drew McIntyre say all this because he was the most over guy.
Yes.
Who's our most over guy? They're going to send out here. You're going to say all this stuff. And that's all it is. So, I mean, if you're fine with that, you're fine with it. If you're annoyed by it, you're annoyed by it, and to me, you're entitled.
And like you said, like I feel that like CM Punk, like they just use it again for like to get the ratings. To like his role on AEW is not to just be a full-time wrestler, which he can be, but not. They're not using it at that capacity yet. But I guess for me, like Brody Lee, all of that, we've heard that before. I wish that like he will be act more as the wrestler, as the seriousness of it, rather than just like stopping and breaking the character and be like, Jim Ross legit, Brody Lee legit. So it's like he's just like I'm just listening to a guy that has a lot of things to say. So no, I'm not really happy with that. But Paul, let's talk about Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks because they asked you a challenge on Dante Martin, so they're gonna have a match. And we'll see where this is really going. I mean, these guys are like Ricky Starks has a lot of potential. The same thing with Hobbs. And I mean, if they will be used properly, these guys should be like that middle ground. They should be like the TNT Championship like level where they can grow, but they don't see them like that. So I mean, Hook is also like going in that kind of capacity. We'll see what happens with that. Anything to say on this?
Yeah, I mean, I like, how we actually hear Powerhouse Hobbs talk a little bit. He's like, hey, remember the first time we fought? Remember how that ended? I'm sure you wish you didn't because I kicked your ass. So, step in the ring with me again. It's going to be pretty much the same thing. And, I like the intensity from these guys, both of them. I agree. They should be doing something with them. It should be more serious than the title, the FTW, which I say it every time. Unfortunately, doesn't really have a lineage, doesn't have a history, doesn't really mean anything. So I wish you do more with these guys. The match might be pretty good, but I guess we got to just, like I always say, we got to wait and see.
Exactly, you're right. So let's go about some of the segments that we're going to see really quick on Rampage and on Dynamite. We already mentioned like Cody and Ethan Page, Darby Allin against Anthony Bowens from the Acclaim. This is just trash. Again, this is just stuff that like feuds that like don't, Darby Allin is really ahead of this guy, so like above the guys from the Acclaim. Why is he doing this? He goes from CM Punk to the Acclaim. I don't know. It's Sting, of course, right there. Is the dad that like will never leave your side. So I'm not interested in this. This match is again Rampage. They're actually writing or booking Rampage as a B plus show. So I don't like that. I don't care for it. This is going to be at least semi-interesting because Dad is going to be talking about Hook, about the son and its technique. Remember they did this for Jon Moxley when they had a big match. They used to do this, analyzing like how he applies the holds, all of that, give you a little bit more knowledge of it. So this is going to be okay, at least for me. What's the thing about this, Paul?
Yeah, I mean, this is good, and this is one of the things where it's like maybe I'll watch if they have this segment on YouTube or something, and I mean, you really do have the stars and you have the talent. It's just book them in the legit feuds, present these guys in a legit manner, and you can have actually 3 hours split up between the two shows, and it can all, for the most part, be legit, non-insulting professional wrestling. It's just they choose to give us, stupid matches that don't make sense half the time, like like the Bunny and
like this one, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because we've seen this a lot, and Tay Conti, like Anna Jay, is just, they're decent wrestlers at most, right? We're not gonna say they're terrible because we've seen even worse than this. They're decent, but they're more used for her looks, for both of their looks. Penelope Ford, same thing, and the Bunny like only meaningful on Impact, but like they had matches already for 3 months. And now it's going to end. Hopefully,
they've been feuding forever about nothing that nobody cares about.
Yes, and they're going to do it in a street fight because the only way that they can do this is with toys, because that's going to make the match longer, and also like they can not be too much wrestling involved. What they're gonna do, but let's talk about in a Dynamite next week. It's gonna be actually better, just because we're gonna see the finals for the TBS Championship. So Jade against Ruby, we already talked about that. We're gonna see also Malachi Black, that he showed up, and he's gonna have a match with Brian Pillman Jr. They should be also 2 seconds, black mass, and that's all it is, because Pillman is in the same category as everybody else, low card or nothing. So I don't think they're going to do anything special with them. But this is going to be the main thing we're going to see. And like you said, probably a title switch. Brand Danielson against Hangman Page. And it's going to be the debut show on TBS. So this is going to be really interesting. And probably we'll see a brand new champion. But we'll see what's going to happen. But I'm putting my money on Daniel from this time.
And now I want to ask your opinion. How do you think it's going to switch? A tap out, or a submission, or a pin, or judge decision? Another time
probably I will say I don't want to say a tap out. I probably want to be it's going to be a pin, because the pin is not as insulting as submission, because submission
I'm
already
gonna say they go to the time limit draw and then the judge's decision, because why do you bring that in? And then that way it mostly just makes Hangman look strong. The only thing with that is now we're gonna have to sit through another hour-long match. Not saying the first one was bad or anything, because the first one was great, but how do you follow? And
I hope that closes the show. But I'm thinking finals of the TBS Championship. I'm not telling you. I'm just saying it could be. But if Danielson wins it, like you said, that's the perfect way to book it. The way you said it. Just because again, Hangman Page still has future, and he's like, hey, dude, by the time in the sun, you dethrone Kenny Omega. What else do you want? So now give it to Danielson, and let's have a more credible champion. The only thing to say is that not even credible, a champion with name. That's unfortunately what Hangman Page doesn't have. Because if you ask to any regular professional wrestling fan, do you know Hangman Page? No. Do you know Daniel Bryan? Oh, so like that. So that's how simple it is. So that's how simple it is, family. So now let's talk about the main event, because the Undisputed Era, Reform, Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish going against the Best Friends. The match was okay. I mean, like you said, up to this point, they feel great. Undisputed people into it. We get to see, of course, the Hug, because actually the best friends look a lot better than the Undisputed Era guys. They were dominating, Chuck Taylor and also like Trent. They were actually good. Orange Cassidy is just, the same thing. If he will drop that and he will just focus on wrestling, it'll be a lot better because he will actually be in the same level as the other two. But we knew that there was no way they were going to win. But the only thing that I thought that like Undisputed was going to win easy. I didn't think that they need the help from the Young Bucks. They came out, super kick right there for both of the best friends, and then that allowed Red Dragon to hit their finisher, and they get the win. Kyle O'Reilly actually missed a kick on he hit Adam Cole with it. So there's like you see like did he make a mistake? Did he actually did it on purpose? So that's kind of like the narrative. That's one of the things that they want to sell us here. So in the end, get to see the Young Bucks. It's like, dude, we're your friends. We're here for you. I don't know about these other two. And it's like, so I'm Cole is like intrigued right now. What is he gonna do? So that's how Dynamite closes the show, Paul. Tell me your thoughts on this whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, the match itself, no, I didn't like, because I agree with you. The Undisputed Era, which that's what I'm going to call them right now, even though they said Red Dragon and Adam Cole, whatever you want to call them, they should have won this match easy. No, okay, I understand you don't want to bury Trent. He just came back. The guy can actually wrestle. He is legit. He's in great shape. I don't think he should have cut his hair. He looked legit with the long hair. But, I mean, the guy's still good. Chuck Taylor sucks, and I mean, Orange Cassidy, at least when he got fired up and stuff, I mean, he has muscle definition, he has tone and stuff. So I mean, he looks like a little something when he actually wrestles and doesn't just have his hands in his pockets. But they shouldn't have been dominant in this. That to me killed it. And as soon as, like you said, the Young Bucks had to come out, caused a distraction off the super kick, and Cole got taken out. I was fine with Cole getting taken out, but I mean, no, not really. That should have happened, I don't know, later on or something. Maybe a second or third match. Maybe like, okay, yeah, I trust these guys. Oh, no, he hit me. Now, do I trust them? If you want to play on that angle. This, to me, feels like it was written by the Young Bucks, because it didn't make any sense. It was convoluted. It was stupid. And like they said, they raised the hands of Red Dragon in the ring. Adam Cole doesn't even get his hands raised after the
Yes.
match. So, I mean, no, they're just playing this off. And they can just play it off somewhere else, because I don't care. And not a very good episode of Dynamite.
Hopefully like they start the year better. So like there's a lot of things AEW has given us. I will say 760 better. Because they're from the year before 40. Like we have every now and then we got these shows like this one that are like really really like why do we go backwards? It's like when they can actually move forward. We'll see what happens. There's going to be maybe a debut or two. There's going to be a brand new year for AEW, new channel, new shows. We'll see everything. We'll be covering all of that here, family. But this is closest for show 4 tonight. So please don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and where else can I find us?
Make sure you follow us, Rope Break, on Facebook, the OG Rope Break on Twitter, Original Rope Break on Instagram, Twitch, TikTok, and Spotify. And of course, right here on YouTube, the home of the #1 podcast in the YouTube wrestling community, the Original Rope Break.
And you and me have one more thing that is left to say, and that is...